Nottingham Forest have been linked with the pacey winger from Chelsea, but at 10 million, is he worth it? Welcome to your Forest transfer news. Good morning, good evening, or good night, wherever in the world you are, whatever time of day you're watching this. Hope you're having a fantastic day. And welcome to your latest Nottingham Forest news. In today's news, we'll be talking about a link to a Chelsea winger. We'll be talking about a relink to a Brazilian sensation and plenty of other stuff to cover off in this episode. Don't forget, before we get started, please do hit that like button. Subscribe to Forest Fan TV if you are new, if you're enjoying the transfer news. And don't forget to have those notifications on. And grab your signed framed Forest shirt. Only a few tickets are left. The link is in the description. Let's jump into it and let's start talking Callum. So Pochettino is coming into Chelsea and he's looking to have a clear out of their so-called deadwood. And on that list is a healthy number of players. I'll chuck it up here for you guys to have a quick look at. And Forest are linked to one of these players, and that's Callum Hudson-Odoi, the 22-year-old winger who's had a serious injury. I think he had the ACL that put him out for a while. He's been on loan to Leverkusen, and to be honest, he has not performed there at all. He played about 14 games in the league, 0 goals, 0 assists, and his only goal did come in Europe where he made under 10 appearances. I think it was 8 or 9 appearances there. But why has this link come about? Well, firstly, he's 22 years old and played at all levels of England, under 18s, under 17s, etc. And he did cross paths with Steve Cooper. And Steve Cooper is renowned. In fact, one of his strongest traits, I think personally, is his ability to work with youngsters. Look how he's developed the likes of Brennan Johnson, Morgan Gibbs-White, Ryan Yates, etc., to name but a few. So this could be the profile player that Steve Cooper himself would actually enjoy working with and actually like to develop. It's been his mantra for his whole career. But is he good enough to play for Forest? Well, firstly, if we look at the position, he plays predominantly on the left wing. And that's been a huge missing piece for the Forest team all season. Although we have Emmanuel Dennis, who in my opinion is still a fantastic player and just hasn't been given a run in the team. It's clear to see, well, that Steve Cooper, one, makes the decisions, and secondly, that he is not part of his first team plans. So could this make sense on all those fronts? Potentially, I think, yes, we really need to balance out our attack. I personally feel 90% of our attack comes down that right-hand channel, down with Jono, Morgan Gibbs-White, etc. And we seem to ignore the left side of the pitch, unless on the few occasions that Dennis has played, or you get Lodi overlapping on that left wing. But for me, potentially, if this is a player that Cooper is interested in, and would look to play, it will create some balance in the attacking third of the pitch. On top of that, as I mentioned, it's only 10 million. And I know only 10 million, I mean, if someone gave me 10 million, thank you very much. But in footballing Premier League terms, it's an absolute bargain. When you look at it, there's always an English tax in football. There's always a Premier League tax. And to let him go for 10 million, yes, there is a risk involved amongst it, but I honestly believe if Callum were to get a run of games in a Premier League team and a bit of patience, you would see him develop into an excellent player. Remember, this is the guy who got 2 assists against Forest a few years ago in the Cup. So he does have the talent and he does have the desire, but can he stay fit? And on top of that, is the link that strong? At the moment, it's coming from a sheet of paper that has a few names on there. And that name against the club against his name was Nottingham Forest. To be honest, looking through that list, and I'll bring it up on screen, it is quite an interesting one. And there's a few players that do catch my eye. Obviously, Kante. I would love Kante at Forest, but doesn't look like that one's happening. But then you got other wingers like Ziyech and Pulisic, who I think are both great players. And then, of course, there's the likes of Conor Gallagher. But the price tag being put on him is 40 million. And there are no links between him and Nottingham Forest currently. But it is clear to see that Poch will have to come into Chelsea, will have to clear out that squad, even if it's just a case of stamping his authority on the team. and Callum Hudson-Odoi, his name has made that list. One other name that has made the list that has been linked to Forest before is Trevor Chalobah. Trevor Chalobah's not had the greatest of seasons. Now, again, I reiterate, there are no links to him currently. This is an old summer link, but a price tag of 25 mil has been put on him, and he is currently linked out to Italy. But would you be interested in any of the names on this list? Let me know. And what do you think about Callum Hudson-Odoi? I think he's a punt worth taking, because even if he were to fail, you would still get the English tax and the Premier League tax on him. And more likely than not, you would at the very least break even on your investment. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. But let's move on and talk about another Brazilian player that could be coming in. Let's talk about another Brazilian Wonderkid that has been linked yet again to Nottingham Forest. Pablo Maia, the São Paulo Wonderkid, who's now into his second season there, has developed and got better and better. This is a player that was linked to Forest in previous transfer windows, and the links and rumours were very strong. However, we just couldn't get it over the line. This player is a defensive midfielder, and this for me is a position, along with the left winger, that is more, in fact, I would go further and say it's more important to recruit and recruit correctly here. Again, he fits the mold of what Cooper's looking for, a young player who's malleable, who can develop and is nowhere near his full potential yet, that Cooper can get his hands on and develop. And for me, this would be a fantastic signing. There's been talks about him being the baby Kaka, etc. But honestly, he is very, very good. And what he comes with, that we've heard a lot of problems say from Brazilian players who have made that move from South American leagues into European football, they've always complained about the physicality and things. We've heard Scarpa say it. Where he comes with is physical strength. He is very good at bullying people off the ball. More importantly, winning the ball high up the pitch and then turning the transition over into his team's favour. On top of that, what he's done now, he has become a more influential CDM, one that gets forward and one that is starting to add goals into his game. What it does allow is your team to play higher up the pitch and create a higher press, because you rely on his ability to win the ball back. Now, the transition from South American football into Premier League, we know has its bumps along the way. But this player is so highly regarded right now. There are other clubs looking at him. I believe West Ham are interested, Newcastle are interested, but Forest are most definitely monitoring this one. And as I've mentioned before, this was a deal that was getting tastily close in previous windows, but never materialized. Could you see him coming to Forest? In my opinion, there's a long way to go on this one. The rumors are still somewhat weak, but he does have some Brazilian boys there that he can gel with, the likes of Danilo, Scarpa, Felipe. Maybe Lodi, but Lodi isn't looking too good at the moment. So he would be able to potentially settle in quite quickly. And a dream move into the Premier League is what a lot of these players currently want. I'm very, very interested in him. I think he has some great potential. I've seen plenty of him playing and he looks brilliant. However, coming from São Paulo, with Palmeiras boys in the team, how will that ride out? I'm sure they'll be absolutely fine. But at the moment, it's nothing but links. But this is a relink. And that's what makes it interesting, is that potentially Forest are still scouting these players. Maybe we'll see the other Brazilians from the previous window linked as well. That would be fantastic. But what do you guys think about Pablo Meyer? And would you take him? And more importantly, in that crucial CDM position, not only are you getting a CDM who's really good at what he does, but someone who's developed into pushing forward up the pitch as well. But does he suit Forest's current style? And maybe, just maybe, if a player like this was to come in, this would be a sign of Cooper doing what he said previously and talking about how he doesn't want to play in this style and wants to play a more adaptive style. And this could be a catalyst for it. Let me know about it in the comments down below. What do you think to Pablo? All right, guys, so that brings you up to date with the latest rumors. There are things developing yet again with Panzo, but we will keep you posted on all the transfer news. God, I love transfer season. It's so much fun, so much speculation, and just real good when you've got such a great owner as the Greek father who's prepared to invest in the club. Before you leave, please don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to Forest Fan TV if you're new here. Make sure you hit the notifications and go grab yourself the last few tickets for that signed framed Forest show, which would look fantastic on any of your walls. Thank you for watching. We'll see you on the next video. And come on, you Reds.